to our first year podcast. This is our last one of the semester. Meaning Liv, our lovely peer mentor Liv, is leaving us.
Ah!
So yeah, this episode is basically us just kind of going through memory lane and talking about Liv's experience as a peer mentor here at Columbia at the SDI office. So Liv, how do you feel? It's your last day.
I feel relieved to be done, but also, of course, a little bit sad to leave SDI.
Mm-hmm. Well, what were like some... Let me try to think. Sorry, Maddie. This is so like... I guess, how does it feel different compared to when you first started here to now? How long have you been here? I guess like give the backstory to people that don't know.
Okay, I've been here for a year, a little over a year now. I started in like October of last year, and so I first started, and that was when Casey was still here as the other peer mentor. So that was like kind of what our dynamic is now, but like the opposite, because I was like the new person, you know? And there was also a completely different staff. So then in the spring came, and that's when we got a lot of the people we have now. And then, of course, like you, Sam, and Kaya came just this fall. So it's been a lot of changes, which kind of, like, is hard sometimes, especially because it's only a semester length. But it's been nice to get to know different people, and I feel like this semester I've really grown into the position, and then, like, the people that were here were also, like, extra supportive of everything, so, yeah.
How much do you think the role itself has changed from when you started to now? I know the peer mentor program's new comparatively to other things that we have here, so as someone who's been here for the long run.
It's completely different. When I first started here, we barely did any, like, we didn't do any going outside of school events, and we mostly focused on, like, the drop-in hours where people could come in and talk to us, but that wasn't really doing very well because it wasn't being promoted all that well. So we were really focusing on the podcast, and then we did, like, some movie nights, and my second semester here, we did movie nights once a month. But those still weren't really getting a lot of attention, and I think that there wasn't really, like, a group of people that would come to everything. It was, like, 3 random people every time, and we really wanted to create, like, a better sense of community in the program. So then over the summertime, I worked on, like, planning everything for the fall so that we actually had a plan in place, because we also didn't really have that the past year, and making sure that the events were something that, like, would actually be appealing to especially first-year students.
Yeah, and I'd say you've been successful. This semester, Liv planned out all of our excursions and stuff like that, and, you know, this is my first semester, but seeing, like, the same people showing up again, and, like, they go out of their way to come here has been really fulfilling for me. So how does that feel for you? Actually seeing the events that you planned to pan out.
Yeah, it's definitely rewarding. I think, like, some of, like, our first things got canceled, like our movie night got canceled, which I was super excited for. And then we had a few other issues. It's like the peer support curse, where we always get rainy weather or cold weather when we're trying to do an event outside. But we actually got pretty lucky and we were able to do most of our events. It's definitely rewarding to see people come every time, and that there's actually, like, a good number of people showing up that really want to be there.
So when you first applied for this position, like, what did you have in mind? Did you think, like, you're like, oh, this is something I'm really passionate about, or you're like, I just need a job?
I think I was slightly passionate.
Okay.
More so I just need a job.
Okay.
But now, of course, I'm passionate about it, and I think that, I mean, like, as a white person, there's always ways to make space for POC, and I think that this job has, like, given me the chance to understand that better, and also just understand, like, the different lives that people live depending on that, because it is, like, it makes a big difference. And I think that it makes me really want people to have a comfortable experience here, and, like, I mean, I've had issues, of course, like, as a woman, so I also can, like, really speak to that for certain people, but then, like, being able to understand, like, what POC women feel is, like, a whole different thing, and trying to, like, make sure that I am helping with that is, like, really important to me.
Yeah.
So it definitely is, like, more important now.
And you think it's something you're going to carry when you go out into the world and...
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah. I know, working, like, I guess we're, like, DEI adjacent. I'd like to think that we do the work ourselves, too. But just, like, being in this environment and being around our pro staff and, like, the way they think and, like, how they talk about things is always really enlightening for me. Because even as a person of color, there's, like, a lot of things I don't know how to put into words. So being in this environment and hearing it be put into words and just, like, everyone being open to each other and... Oh, it's such a lovely work environment. Like,
and it helps you understand that, like, no experience is something that, like, nobody has gone through. Like, people have gone through what you go through too.
Yeah.
And I think like there's certain ways that you can bring it into your life. And like for my film, like almost every department head was a woman, which was like really important. And we try to like keep in mind that we're making sure that it's going to be like a comfortable place for everybody. So there's definitely ways, like, even if you don't think that, like, how am I going to think about DEI when, like, as a director, like, there are ways to be thinking about that.
Yeah, and I think that's something that, like, the more you practice, the more naturally it comes, and you don't have, it's not, like, a Herculean strength to put it into practice. So it's good that through this environment, we are constantly thinking about it. But also, just, like, as someone who's graduating, how does that feel? Like, one, kind of in terms of, like, leaving this program behind, you've done a lot for it, like, what you want to see, even when you're not here, and then just your own thoughts about graduating.
Yeah, it's kind of just one of those things that I, like, am super excited to see where it goes, but I'm also, like, protective over it. And I want to, like, make sure it goes in the direction that I, like, have geared it towards. Which, of course, like, with you here, it'll work that way because you know how I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And how people before me, like, worked towards it, you know? But I think, like, once you're gone, it'll be more something that I'm like, what are they doing at SDI? Like, what are they doing with our program? But
we'll check in.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to check in. And then as a graduate, it's just, like, one of those things that I'm just, like, excited and nervous at the same time. It's, like, the exact feeling when you're like, oh, what am I going to do? But I don't really care because I'm ready to be done. It's, like, that kind of thing.
Yeah, how do you feel about leaving Columbia at, like, this time where we're still kind of in the strike, things have kind of resumed, but, like, it's been a very turbulent semester. It's kind of feels like COVID again, which I know you graduated during COVID also, so...
Yeah, they really have it out for me, I guess.
I think so, too.
But this, luckily, like, it didn't affect me too much, but I'm happy to not have to think about, like... be thinking about that going into my next semester, like, oh my gosh, how are things gonna go with the strike?
Yeah, exactly.
All that, so I feel grateful for that, but I
Able to
also
leave around this time.
but I do feel bad for people that will be here, like, in years to come.
Yeah, I worry for the freshmen because this is a terrible first introduction to Columbia, and I mean, there's definitely still a lot of work for us to do from here on out because, I don't blame anyone for, like, feeling like they should transfer or, like, being unsure about staying here and stuff like that, but there's so much good here, so it's a little sad. But oh, also, you know, you've been working with Matthew for all this time. How do you feel about all the work you guys have done together and kind of that relationship going forward? Because I'm sure you want to keep in touch and all that.
Yeah, I think it's been really interesting because, like, of course, Matthew, like, has people come and go all the time. But, like, for me, it was, like, when the peer mentor switched from, like, KC to you, like, Matthew was the only person that, like, was still there. So it's definitely been, like, somebody, like, just, like, it feels like I don't even know how to describe it. Like, we see these people more than I see my family.
Literally.
So it's, like, especially for you, too. Especially for people who come out of state. So it just feels like somebody that I can rely on here, like everybody here, Shireen, Anna too, like people that are here that are like a constant for a lot of change happening, not only in the school, but like even just in our office. Yeah,
they really look out for us too, just outside of us being like working for them and stuff like that. Yeah. Like, there's a lot to learn from Matthew also. I feel like I wish I could just pick their brain.
I know. I want to just go inside of it.
I know. Like, I just need to have every conversation with them ever.
Yeah, I'm just like, they have so much, like, educational background, too, that I'm just, like, so much knowledge is in their brain.
they make me want to go to school more. Even though
I never will.
Right?
But it sounds nice.
I'm like, I do not want to go to grad school, but Matthew, I want what you have in your brain.
Seriously. Just transfer it over, maybe.
Yeah. No, but literally, we need to, like, beam the information into my brain.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So what are your plans when you leave?
Staying here until May, so I'll be able to be around. I could always be a guest on the podcast. I feel like a guest right now. And then I'm gonna move to LA probably in the spring, after graduation and everything here.
So exciting.
Yes, super exciting.
I'll be scary after you soon.
Yes. 2026. Yeah, I feel very excited and nervous and want to do it but don't want to do it and all the things.
Exactly. And we will all keep in touch for sure.
Yeah.
We have to make sure that happens. But, okay, I guess we can kind of go back in time a little bit. You've been in this role for a while. For me, like, you've been a very reliable person. You, like, got me immediately situated. Everything was immediately comfortable for me. Well, things were uncomfortable, but not because of you. Just, like, you know, new role. Yeah, but you were making it better. So, how, like, was it when you first started, like, and to now, like, looking back on... I know the program's different. I know, obviously, you're older now. So, any funny anecdotes from the beginning times?
I always think about, like, I'm sure... Did you ever visit the school before you came here?
Only once.
Yeah, so I only visited once, too. And I remember, like, when I got to know the area, like, I couldn't even remember what it looked like when I didn't know the area.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of thing. I remember the first time I came into the office for my interview. And, like...
What year was that for you?
That was...
Like, freshman, sophomore,
junior year.
Junior year.
And I literally was like, I walked in and I did not know what I was walking into, and I remember, like, seeing Matthew for the first time, but I, like, don't remember it vividly enough because now the space is so familiar that I can't even remember it in that time where it was, like, unfamiliar.
Yeah.
And I always think about that. I'm like, oh, I wish I could, like, remember that so vividly because it was such an interesting, like, experience. But yeah, I think I don't know if there's any funny anecdotes, but I think that it's been an interesting time here. Seen a lot of things, done a lot of fun things.
Yes.
Yeah, I've definitely, like, grown as a person. Yeah.
This is such a good work environment to be in. Like,
yeah.
I'm gonna miss this so much when I graduate.
Yeah,
too.
It's gonna be hard to go into, like, a quote-unquote regular work environment.
Like, whether it's corporate or not, like, just people here are just so kind and understanding, and it just feels comfortable. This is, like, our second home sometimes. Like you said, I didn't even think about that. I do see these people more than I see my family members.
It's crazy. So, like, to have people that are, like, you don't feel uncomfortable when you have to see them is so important.
I know. Like, I enjoy coming into work. I think that's a very valuable thing. Like, obviously working is, like, can be tiring and exhausting at times, like it always is, but the fact that it's not because of the people here, it's not because of the environment here is very important. So I'm happy we got that.
Yeah. And you know when you, like, have a job and there's always, like, one or two coworkers you never want to work with?
Yeah.
Like, we don't have that.
We don't.
That's the best. Like, I love that. I don't have to, like, look at the schedule to see who's going in.
Exactly. I'm like, I come in and I'm like, so who's here?
Yeah, I know. And normally it's more people than you thought it would be.
Exactly. Yeah. I love when we're all on a shift. Like, that is, I love our Fridays because that's when we're all in and we're just like, hey.
Yeah, I hope that continues for years to come too. Like, a one day where everybody's here. Because that's, like, it's the most fun.
That's so perfect. Thank you, pro staff, for thinking of that.
Yes.
Oh, well, yeah. I feel like I'm going to miss you a lot, personally. I mean, I know that you're not that far away from campus. You live in South Loop, but... Yeah, we don't know when you're coming back from winter break, but once you do, we're gonna pull you into some SDI event again.
Yeah.
You just need to show up and be like, wow, I can't believe you guys are here.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, who are you again?
Sorry.
But, yeah, thank you so much, Liv, for coming on to our final farewell podcast. We're gonna miss you a lot. I know our viewers are gonna miss you a lot.
Thank you to all the listeners for putting up with my voice for all these podcast episodes.
Yeah, and from here on going out, it is just going to be me for a little bit, but I am going to be pulling in a lot of our SDI staff that you probably haven't heard before. So if you want to, like, hear a specific topic, let us know, because there's a lot of brains in this office, and they all have different interests. So
yeah, for sure.
We talk about a lot of different things, but yeah, this is our farewell to Liv. We're going to try not to be emotional and cry, but We love you, Liv.
Love y'all.
All right. Goodbye to our viewers.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
It was nice knowing you.
We love you.
Love you.